Florida PIP insurance, what every driver must know. Your agent told you you had full coverage. Why could one crash still leave you owing $90,000? Most Floridians shove their policy in the glove box, never spotting the tiny $10,000 cap hiding on page 1. Miss that 14-day doctor deadline after a crash, and every medical bill lands on you. Fault or no fault. Stay with me, and you'll see exactly why PIP really matters, why full coverage is a myth, and how to protect every dollar that you earn. By the end, you'll know the simple moves that keep your family safe and your wallet closed when an accident strikes. Hi, I'm Pablo Tamayo, and I've been a practicing attorney in Florida for 18 years. And today, I'm going to explain to you exactly what personal injury protection, or PIP, insurance is in Florida, why the term full coverage is one of the biggest myths in the insurance industry, and what you absolutely must know about Florida's no-fault insurance laws to protect yourself and your family. So, what is PIP insurance? Personal injury protection, or PIP, is mandatory automobile insurance coverage in Florida. PIP covers 80% of all necessary and reasonable medical expenses up to $10,000 resulting from a covered injury, regardless of who caused the accident. This is what makes Florida a no-fault state. Here's what that means in plain English. If you're injured in a car accident in Florida, your own insurance company pays your medical bills first. Whether you caused the accident or not, you must receive initial care within 14 days for your medical expenses to be covered. The 14-day rule is absolutely critical, and I'll explain why in a moment. But PIP doesn't just cover medical expenses. Personal injury protection also pays 60% of your regular income, up to the $10,000 PIP limit per covered person, if you can no longer work or if you've had to miss work due to injuries. It also covers $5,000 in death benefits. Now, I want to be very clear about something that confuses many people. The minimum for PIP coverage in Florida is $10,000. And this is also typically the maximum that most people can carry. Florida Statute 627.736 governs PIP benefits, and it's designed to provide immediate medical coverage regardless of fault determination. So that critical 14-day rule, this is where many people get into serious trouble. You must receive initial care within 14 days of an accident for medical expenses to be covered. Not 15 days, not 2 weeks and 2 days, or 2 weeks and a day, exactly 14 days from the day of the accident. I've seen countless people where clients felt fine after an accident, but they just didn't want to be bothered by the inconvenience of going to the doctor. But then, 3-4 weeks later, when the pain starts getting worse, they finally go see a doctor and they discover that their PIP benefits have been completely forfeited. The insurance company will deny every medical bill if you miss the statutory deadline, and you'll lose out on that $10,000 of medical payments you were otherwise entitled to. So let me give you a real example from my practice. I represented a client who was rear-ended at a red light. She felt soreness, but she thought she was okay the few days after the accident. Well, after she had come to our office, more than 2.5 weeks later, she was in excruciating pain and she had gone to the emergency room. She had done some MRIs that showed that she actually had herniated discs in her spine. Her insurance company denied coverage for all her medical bills because she missed that 14-day deadline by 3 days. So, please remember, if you're injured in an auto accident, don't be a hero and make sure you're evaluated by a doctor within the 14 days of your accident. The emergency medical condition exception. Here's something most people don't understand about PIP coverage. Many drivers don't realize that accessing the full $10,000 PIP benefit requires a determination of an emergency medical condition. If your injury is not deemed as an emergency medical condition, your PIP coverage drops to only $2,500. So, what constitutes an emergency medical condition? It must be a medical condition manifesting itself by acute symptoms of sufficient severity, including severe pain, that a prudent layperson with average knowledge would reasonably expect the absence of immediate medical attention to result in serious jeopardy to the patient's health. This is why it's crucial to seek immediate medical attention if you've been injured in an auto accident. A doctor's determination of an emergency medical condition can be the difference between $2,500 and $10,000 in PIP coverage. The myth of full coverage. Now, let's talk about the biggest lie in the insurance industry: full coverage. I hear this phrase from clients almost every day in my practice, and it frustrates me because it's completely meaningless. When an insurance agent tells you that you have full coverage, what they typically mean is that you have the state-required minimums of $10,000 in PIP coverage and $10,000 in property damage liability coverage. That's it. Florida doesn't technically require drivers to carry bodily injury liability coverage, which means if you seriously injure someone else in an accident, you could be personally liable for hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages to that other driver, especially if they're injured. What it also means that if somebody else injures you and that person doesn't have any bodily injury coverage, then you may be left on the hook to foot your own medical bills beyond the standard $10,000 in PIP, and you won't be compensated for any other damages, including pain and suffering or your future medical bills. Now, there's a coverage called uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage that protects you in that scenario. We'll get into the details of coverage in another video. But for now, just know that because someone tells you that you have full coverage, it probably doesn't mean what you think it means. Always ask for a quote that includes bodily injury and uninsured motorist coverage as well. Now, what PIP does not cover. Understanding what PIP does not cover is just as important as understanding as what it does cover. So PIP does not cover property damage to your vehicle. That requires collision coverage, which is optional in Florida. Pain and suffering. PIP only covers economic damages like your medical bills or lost wages. Injuries to other people and accidents that you cause. That requires bodily injury liability coverage, which is not required in Florida, but is essential protection. It does not cover medical expenses beyond $10,000. So once your PIP is exhausted, you're on your own unless you have health insurance, or in the case that somebody else is at fault and they have no insurance or not enough insurance, then you can get the uninsured motorist coverage. It does not cover full replacement of lost wages. PIP only covers 60% of your lost income up to the policy limits. So again, if it's a scenario where you've been injured, somebody else is at fault, and they don't have sufficient bodily injury coverage, then your own uninsured motorist coverage could also provide you benefits for your lost wages as well. Florida is a no-fault automobile insurance state. So this means that all drivers are required by law to carry personal injury protection insurance. But here's what the no-fault system does not mean. It doesn't mean you can't sue someone who caused your own accident. Florida's no-fault system is designed to provide immediate medical coverage and reduce the number of lawsuits. However, if your injuries meet certain thresholds, you can still pursue a claim against the at-fault driver. These thresholds include permanent injury, significant and permanent scarring or disfigurement, or death. The problem is that many people don't understand these nuances. They think no fault means that they can't hold anyone accountable for causing their injuries. Well, that's simply not true. If someone's negligence causes your injuries, you have every right to pursue compensation beyond your PIP benefits. In my years of practice, I've seen the same mistakes over and over and over again. First, people wait too long to seek medical attention and lose their PIP benefits entirely due to the 14-day rule. Second, they don't understand that PIP is primary coverage. So this means that your PIP insurance pays first, even before your health insurance. Some people try to use their health insurance first to avoid using their PIP coverage, but this is backwards. PIP is designed to be used immediately, and most medical providers will not use your health insurance if they know that you've been in an auto accident until your PIP coverage has been fully used. Third, they don't realize that PIP coverage follows the person, not the vehicle. So if you've been injured as a pedestrian, as a bicyclist, or while riding in someone else's vehicle, your own PIP coverage should apply to you first. Fourth, they don't document their injuries properly. Again, PIP insurance companies, like most insurance companies dealing with auto insurance, will look for any reason to deny or minimize your claims. Proper medical documentation from the beginning of the accident. The role of health insurance. Many people, they ask about the relationship between PIP and health insurance. We've covered it a little bit in this video so far, but if you do have health insurance, it can also be used to offset and sometimes eliminate your medical bills. However, PIP is primary coverage, which means PIP will pay your medical expenses first. This can actually work in your favor. If you have good health insurance, your PIP benefits might last longer because your health insurance can pick up the costs that PIP does not cover, like copays and deductibles. But you need to coordinate these benefits properly, and many people don't understand how to do this effectively. If you're in an accident, here's what you need to do to protect those benefits. Seek medical attention immediately, preferably within 24 to 48 hours of the accident. Don't wait until you're feeling your best. Seek the medical attention as soon as you can. Go to an emergency room or urgent care center first. This helps establish the emergency medical condition that unlocks your full $10,000 in benefits. Follow up with appropriate specialists as recommended by your provider. If you have neck or back pain, see a chiropractor, see an orthopedic doctor, or see a neurologist if you have headaches or loss of memory. Keep detailed records of all your medical treatment and expenses. Your insurance company will certainly scrutinize every bill. Don't give recorded statements to the insurance companies without consulting an attorney first. Even your own PIP carrier can use your statements against you. The future of PIP in Florida. So I should mention that there are and there have been ongoing legislative discussions about potentially changing the foundation of Florida's PIP system. This has been going on for many, many years in Florida. While any changes will likely not affect existing policies, it's something to keep in mind and to monitor in the future. The current system, while certainly imperfect, does provide immediate medical coverage regardless of fault. This is valuable protection, even if it's not as comprehensive as many people believe it is. So here's what I want you to remember about your rights when it comes to PIP. Having PIP coverage doesn't mean you're fully protected, and it doesn't mean you can pursue additional compensation if someone else caused your accident. PIP is really just the starting point. If you're seriously injured in a car accident caused by someone else's negligence, you may be entitled to compensation for pain and suffering, for full lost wages, for future medical expenses, and other damages that PIP simply doesn't cover. The key is understanding when and how to pursue those additional claims. Personal injury protection is a crucial safety net for Florida drivers, but it's not the only comprehensive coverage that many people think it is. Understanding the 14-day rule, the emergency medical condition requirement, and the limitations of your coverage can make the difference between having your medical bills covered and facing financial hardship after an accident. The myth of full coverage has led too many people to believe they're fully protected, when in reality, they're not. Don't let this happen to you. Review your insurance coverage regularly. Understand what you have and what you don't have, and make informed decisions about additional coverage that might be right for your situation. Remember, PIP is designed to get you immediate medical care after an accident. It's not designed to make you whole if you've been seriously injured by someone else's negligence. For that, you need to understand your rights under Florida law and be prepared to pursue all available compensation. Getting proper medical care and understanding your PIP benefits is just the first step after an accident. But what specific actions should you take immediately after an accident to protect both your health and your legal rights? That's exactly what I'm going to cover in my next video. What steps should I take if I've been injured in an auto accident in Florida? In that video, I'll walk you through the critical actions you need to take in the first hours and days after an accident to preserve evidence for any potential legal claim and avoid the costly mistakes that can jeopardize your case. This information could literally save you thousands and thousands of dollars, and it ensures that you get the compensation that you deserve. You've just learned why PIP coverage isn't the full coverage you thought it was. Now you need to know exactly what to do when an accident happens. Don't wait until it's too late to learn this information. See more over there.